Welcome back to the shop, everybody. Today I'm going to start working on what is the last component of my grinder rest project, and that is the actual work surfaces. I have two of them, one with a narrow slot for the aluminum oxide wheel and then one with a slightly wider slot for the CBN wheel. They are a fairly simple part. As you can see, it's just a flat piece, round at the corners, just you don't ram your hand into it. A slot that's an 1/8 of an inch wider, or say a 1/4 of an inch wider than the wheel that it's designed for, so you get an 1/8 of an inch of clearance on both sides. And then countersunk holes for socket head cap screws that will allow the rests to be mounted on either side, or I should say allow the wheel to be mounted on either side as I see fit. And that's pretty much it. So let me take you over to the mill. I'll get these set up and I'll start machining. So I've already gone ahead and milled one of the long edges to get a nice clean side. Now I'm getting ready to mill the other long edge and then bring this part down to width. Since these pieces are so high and this is not a very big vise, I found that, at least the first time through, putting some 1, 2, 3 blocks down, even though it's not clamping as wide an area as the jaws could, it's clamping a higher, taller area, and that's seemed to help. Some brand new inserts here I'm going to try out. These are ISCAR inserts. We'll see how these do compared to some of the old ones I had. Touch off here and get a rough 0. Just take a 5/1000th pass or so, just in case it's crooked or anything like that. That light pass just barely kind of cleaned it up back here, so now I'm going to take a 20,000th pass and now I'll start doing some real cutting. Now that I've got a nice clean edge, I'll take a measurement and see how much more I got to take off. Got to take this down to 3 7/8. 3.9135. So, looks like we have 38 thousandths to come off. Take another pass at 20. Drop the feed down. I've got 10,000ths to go. I'm going to take one pass at 5,000ths and see how the surface finish comes out. It's smooth, but it could look a little prettier. And then, assuming I got a good one, I'll go back and take the last 5,000ths off. Finish feels okay. Could be better. And since no one's paying me to do this, I always try to go for the best finish possible, so we'll put just a really light coat of cutting oil on here. See if that improves it at all. Not the best I've seen, but better than it was previously. Well, that's it for this. It's now the width. Now I gotta clean up the ends. Okay, I've got everything switched over. And now, just like you've seen me do a bunch of other times in this build process, it's time to clean up a bandsaw edge. You've got the table locked. That's not a good thing. Try another 10 thousandths. See if that cleans it up. Another 10 will definitely do it, so apply some cutting oil, dial in another 10 and finish this off. This is where a power feed in the Y direction would be excellent. Okay, that looks nice and clean. I'll bring you guys back when I've got it all cleaned up and down to length and ready for the next step. Okay, so the next step is to actually drill clearance holes for the socket head cap screws, which are these, and then counterbore so that they can sit down in beneath the surface of the work surface. I've already found both edges and got the first hole lined up, so let's get started. Well, I guess I should put my spot drill in here first. Drill truck can't really do anything by itself. And I got this lower than it probably needs to be, but minimizing stick out won't hurt it that much. It just makes it a little bit more of a pain in the butt to get the drill bit in. done, the other one. And I've come to the conclusion that this counterbore is just about at the end of its life because it's dull. It really doesn't want to cut very well. And it's just been kind of miserable to use. Got chattering on it and all kinds of other miserableness. So let's turn this down. Let's see if we get anything better out of it. Go down and touch off. Zero the DRO. Let's see what we get. I'm gonna use the fine feed. That might help a little bit, hopefully. As soon as this touches off, or it starts to bite, I'm gonna get chatter for sure, most likely. Shocking, I did. Got a little burr raised up there, so you can tell that it's not cutting that well. There you can hear it vibrate a little bit. Let's start to chatter. Yeah, that looks good to me. So, I've got the last three to do, and I won't make you guys suffer through that. I'll bring you back when I get ready to cut the massive slots for the wheels to fit in. So, it's time to cut the slot that the grinding wheel actually fits into. And as you can see, maybe you can see here, taking some Sharpie, marked it, and then just scratched the line from both sides so I know roughly where I gotta be because I've got a lot of waste to hog out. Now, thankfully, I can put my 1, 2, 3 blocks on both sides. The slot's not deep enough that I have to worry about the cutter hitting it, but this will help to stabilize the workpiece a little bit better. It's not going to be pretty though, and this is going to take a little while, mainly because I'm cutting a 1.5 inch deep slot, 1.25 inches wide, I think it is for this piece. Do I have let me grab my blueprints. Yeah, 1.25 inches wide. I'll actually put my blueprints up here in front of the machine. 1.25 inches wide into stock that's only 3/8 of an inch thick. So, got a lot of stock sticking up. Going to cut a big deep slot into it. So I'm going to have to go slow because it's not going to like it. It's going to want to chatter and stuff. There we go. I've got maybe a 1/16 or 1/8 of an inch between the bottom of the end mill and the top of the workpiece. I'll lock the head down. I'll run over and I'll just use, well, and turn the digital readout on, that would help. Just run the end mill down and just touch, zero the DRO. Give me a rough thing. I'll go back and measure it here once I actually start cutting it. So now, make sure everything's set properly. Yes, so it's time to go. Roughly centered. Again, it doesn't matter a whole lot. Go down. Take a 150,000th step of cut. And beware of the hot chips. There is another 150. And I've been cranking it through this way mainly because it throws most of the chips out the back instead of at me. Another 150. I'm close to depth now, so I backed it out. I'm gonna take a little file. Let's see if I can get in here. I don't want to move the table all over the place just because I don't have a DRO, so getting it back to dead center is never easy. There's nothing there. There we go. So I've got that cleaned out. Got my depth gauge set. Let's see what. And I have 92 thousandths to go. Okay, so I've got it to depth. The quill's locked down, so now I just need to basically widen the slot. So this will be interesting because this is essentially a 1.5 inch deep depth of cut, and I'm doing 50 thousandths step overs. There's 50 thousandths. Actually, I went 50 thousandths the wrong direction. I want to do it this way so it's pushing into me, not trying to climb cut. There you can see the spring that was in the quill just from the cut. Dial in another 50 thousandths. Put some cutting fluid on there before I forget. As you can probably see, I got a bunch of burrs here. Got little paper towel pieces stuck in them. So I'm going to clean these up first before I move on to the next step. And that next step is something I'm not going to show, which is just rounding over these corners so that I don't cut myself or, otherwise injure myself or someone else. So I'll do that off camera, but I'll bring you guys back when I'm ready to assemble everything. Okay, so as you can see, I've rounded over the edges. I've wire wheeled everything, cleaned everything up, so the first thing I need to do is, let me look back here, I need to fasten the vertical arm to the bottom of the base. So that's pretty easy to do. Just get it close. Then I can take my combination square, well, if I don't drop it, put it across the back. Sorry, it's easier for me to just flip it around like this. Make sure it looks like it's lined up, and it is. It's nice and perpendicular. Slowly tighten it down and go back and double check. Still nice and perpendicular, so I should be able to take it and snug it the rest of the way down now. Yep. So now I can really crank down on it. And that's not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. So let me move the camera and I'll put it on the machine for you. So when I was mounting the other one, this seemed to work the best. Just to actually just kind of hang it upside down, put the adjustable handle through, get it close. Now that it's close, I can just rotate it up and then adjust it however I see fit. So I have a pretty good range of motion just with this. In this case, the horizontal arm is all the way out, so that's too far because there I've got a huge gap. I can turn it down, I can move it in, up. So I will probably have to slide the arm back a little bit, the bottom horizontal arm back, so I can get a steeper angle if needed, things like hand planes and stuff like that, or hand plane blades I should say. Let's get it close to level there. And let's see how the vibration does on the actual table. So let me stand it aside for a second, let it spin up. Really happy about that. My old grinder, if I did that, this bit would be hopping up and down and it'd bounce right off the rest. And I don't even have this wheel true yet, so it'll probably even get even better. So I have to say, I'm happy this is done. It took a little longer than I thought it would, but it turned out pretty well. I'm pleased with it. So that's it for this project. I've got a bunch of small shop stuff coming up I got to take care of, and my next project will probably be, I think I have a thing on my next thing on my list is to make some scratch-alls, or if you're a metal worker, a scribe. So check back every now and then and I'll keep you guys up to date.